Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the H.4.0.S Galactic Battle number 3. Welcome back to the group stage of this big offline Polish event. I apologize for the extended delays or for the break, but as you saw, the players were getting ready. We were able to showcase some of them on the clean feed. You could see them with their lovely faces set up on the stage in their player booths, and now we're jumping into game number 1 of this fresh best of 3. We're still in the group stage, but we have hopped over into a different group, into Group B? Question mark? Let me just double check. Yeah. We've hopped over into Group B, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alkione, we have the red Polish Terran player. The red Terran representing himself, currently teamless. It is Angry. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player from LAN of Poland. It is Trifax. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim this best of 3. As a reminder, we're still in the group stage. This is still the first round of the group stage as well. After this, we'll be jumping into the winners match. As a reminder, these are GSL groups, so two players will advance on. The other 2 will be eliminated from the tournament. Oh boy, here we go. So we are jumping on in. Again, as a reminder, there are going to be extended breaks in between series just because players have to get set up on stage. Players will have to dip in and dip back out. So just as a heads up, that's why we'll have a little bit more downtime in between these matches, in between these series. But once we get in, we get going. We get going, Pappy. We get things going. It's beautiful. So now we do have our initial openers. Hatch Gas Pool at a Trifax, standard opener from our blue Zerg player. Meanwhile, Angry just going for a standard Rax expand back at home. Everything looking as it should, everything looking quite standard, quite normal for the time being. So no crazy shenanigans early on. Not this time. Not yet. Winding it back, we have casted both these players in the past. Trifax is more of a standard player in the ZvT matchup. Doesn't really deviate too often from the side of Angry, though. He can be a little more assertive, a little more aggressive, a little more in your face. I don't think I've seen Angry embrace mech in the past, but I have seen him embrace, very aggressive bio styles, referring to 8 Raxes, potentially Hellbat related pushes as well. We'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on Angry. See how he does approach this. Shout out to the logo. Shout out to H.4.0.S Galactic Battle. Love to see it. Beautiful. As the factory is getting set up, Reaper moves out across the map. Again, the dance between the Reaper and the Lings have begun. And we don't quite get the drone kill yet. It got close. Drone got low, but the drone does survive. Reaper's going to be forced back. Third base is being taken. Trifax will be able to establish it. And so far, so good. We're surviving the early game. We're headed towards a longer game state. Factory behind this, and we should be working towards a 3rd CC. We have the money for it. 3rd CC before starport. Oh, never mind. Okay, we're going for a 1-1-1. Interesting. So Angry going for a very different opener, much more aggressive here. We don't often see 1-1-1s as often as we did in the past. Very old school. Reaper moves out. Past the 3rd. Oh my god, that's 2 board BC? Oh wait, what? Okay, so I was curious as to the 1-1-1. For those that are curious, again, 3rd bases are a lot more prevalent in the meta, a lot more commonplace, but it's not just 1 starport, a 2nd starport behind this. I imagine we're going 2-port BC with a fusion core. I would imagine that's the case. Meanwhile, Overlord's on the way, but we're going for a Viking first to shut down the Overlord, to deny scouting, deny vision, and Angry is about to pop off. Oh boy. Not like this. I say that the Overlord might be able to get a full scout. Vikings still on the way. No Marines to begin with. There we go. First Marine does pop out, but Trifax here, the scout is not going to be denied. He's going to see everything in the main. 2nd starport is confirmed. Yeah, Tech Lab as well. Trifax knows. He has seen everything he needs to. Whether it's BC, whether it's Mass Banshee, yep, there it is. Otherwise, we would have already seen a fusion core by now. We have Hyperflight Rotors and Cloak on the way. So Mass Banshee by Angry. And Trifax, all we need, Queens and Spores. Likewise, we need to make sure that our lair isn't too late either to work towards a Spire if need be. Regardless, Trifax has seen everything he needs to. And Angry is in a bit of trouble. Oh boy. The power of this build from Angry is typically in hiding it. It's in catching the opponent off guard with their pants down. Alas, that's not happening here. Lair is on the way. Queens are amassing. Soon to be Spore Crawlers as well. A little bit too early for that, but on the horizon. Trifax even attempts a run by. So far, unsuccessful. Doesn't quite make his way in. Legs have to pull back. Viking looking for another way in. And so far, Trifax is looking solid. Spores are being thrown down. We have a spore in each mineral line. Gas is now being taken as well. And Angry is going from 2-port Banshee into mech. Oh god. It's been a while since I've seen this build. It's been like a year or so. But yeah, Armory is on the way, 2 more factories as well. Meanwhile, Trifax responds with a Roach Warren. Hasn't seen all the factories, but 2-port play does typically lead into mech. So Trifax is getting ready. Likewise, I'm sure these players are a lot more familiar with each other. Spire's on the way as well. Again, to deal with the Mass Banshee. Get into Mutas. Or even into Corruptors. Most likely Muta. And yeah, we're in a really weird game state. Now we have 4 Banshees. That's a lot of Banshees. Banshees are moving out. Looking to hit that 3rd. Queens are ready. Spores likewise as well. Only 1 spore in each base. Ooh. Very light on spores. Considering how many Banshees there are, wouldn't be the worst idea to invest a little bit more heavily into them. As the Banshees do hit the main base, they go for the Queen. They can and they will. The Queen gonna get 3 shots. Queen goes down. Queen's gonna be rotating. Thankfully, Creep is getting the bases. Thankfully. Up! Another Queen! And another! 3! And 3 Queens go down. Oh, barely the transfuse. Clutch moves here out of Trifax. 2 Queens have fallen. Spore takes out a Banshee at the 3rd base. And finally, economic damage is being done. Getting 3 drone kills so far. Getting 4, 5. Oh my god! The drone kills are stacking up. 6 drones. Banshees, they rotate. Over towards the right-hand side. 6 drone kills, 2 Queens. Not too bad. Not too bad whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Roach counterattack across the map gets completely shut down. And even though Angry was initially scouted, he has done quite well for himself. Has done quite well harassing. Getting damage done. But it's not over. Trifax still has a healthy drone count up to 72, has a 4th base up and running, and Mutas are on the way. And the question becomes, do we have enough anti-air to defend against the Mutas? We have Cyclone. We have Mass Cyclone here at the 3rd base, but no turrets in the natural, and no turrets in the main either. Mutas instead, they're going for the Banshees. This tells me that Angry has time to respond. Turrets should soon be on the way, but the E-base is still in production! Oh. The engineering base still on the way. Cyclones are splitting up. Mutas do not move out. There we go. Just waiting for a moment. Now diving into the 3rd. Turret's not yet ready. Cyclones are in position. Yeah, Mutas, they dive in, and they're not going to trade too well here. 1 Muta goes down. 1 Muta for 2 Cyclones. Not bad. Now SCVs are falling. Again, turrets were late. At the same time, Banshees do hit the 4th. Getting another 3 drone kills. 3 drones go down. The players will calm down for a moment here. Again, Trifax still has a decent economy, and the Mutas did survive, so they can chase down these Banshees. They can and they will. Getting 3, getting almost all 4 Banshees. Casito, almost. Last Banshee does survive. Angry is contained on 3 bases, and behind this, Trifax going for the gold. Taking a gold base, taking up into Ling Roach Ravager. Upgrades are on the way, +1 range, +1 melee. Trifax is looking quite comfortable here. Despite the mech that is amassing, again, Angry has had a bit of a harder time establishing a 4th base and really settling in. I'm sure he was hoping that the Banshees would do a little bit more damage. And Trifax is maxed. Crazy. He's already maxed out. Maxed out on Ling Bane Roach Ravager. And his goal here is to trade, is to crash into the third, maybe crash into the fourth, even into the natural. On Trifax to pick and choose where he goes next. The rocks are being knocked down. Now, what's important here is that Trifax does need to trade. You don't want to just lay back and allow the Terran player to max out. Trifax has a better economy and ideally has to make use of it. And here we go, we're getting ready at the fourth. We have Mutus was left-hand side, distracting Angry. Here we go, we just roll it in. 5 tanks siege up, it doesn't matter, Bailey's to get into the mineral line. SCVs are going down, massive connections. SCVs do fall. And so does the planetary. 22 SCVs planetary, and what was that, 4 tanks? Almost 5. With that, Angry has to back up. He's remaxing on more lings, more roaches. And Angry could try to counterattack, but by the time he does, Trifax is going to be remaxed. Trifax is already remaxing. Angry stuck at home. And now it's time to do that again. Trifax killed the 4th once. And if Trifax is able to do this over and over again, just contain Angry to 3 bases, that means that Angry will never really be able to max out and rebuild and push. Angry scans, finding another base. Trifax rebuilding. Selecting some Banelings, but there we go. 15 Banelings on the way. And once they're ready, we can see a second wave, a second push. At the same time, Hive is done. Greater Spires on the way for Broodlords. Banshees are spotted. Cyclone's in position. Angry holding his own. Queen's pushing forward. Gaining more creep. Now, what I will say is that Angry has a much larger army this time. He's in position. Has a lot of Thor, a lot of... not as many tanks, but mainly Thor. Thor Cyclone. And no Ravagers for Trifax. He's going to try to brute force his way in. Bailey's a crash into the Hellbats. They're going for the Cyclones. Cyclones and Hellbats go down. But Angry does hold. And this time, Angry has the mineral line. This time he saves the base. And I'm a little bit more concerned for Trifax now. That was not the best fight. What I was about to say, especially upon seeing the much larger force that was here, is it maybe would have been wiser for Trifax to rotate and hit the third, or maybe even break through these depots and hit the natural. Try to hit another location instead, as Angry, all of his attention is focused here at the 4th base. So that was the best fight that Angry could have hoped for. And now Angry is recovering. Now he has a more comparable army size, a more comparable economy. Trifax is tanking, but ooh, these Banshees, they find 6, 7 drones. Oh my god. 6 drones go down. Spine Crawler gasses as well. Trifax is in trouble. Now he is building up towards Broodlords, but what I'm concerned by, I mean, let me just quickly double check actually. How many Thors went down? 2. 2 Thors went down, and we have 1 Thor left. Okay. The Thor count is quite low. I was concerned that there were actually more Thors, but only with 1 Thor, Broodlords can get the job done. Thankfully for Trifax, Angry has stopped Thor production. Oh, is now getting back in, working on a 2nd Thor, but 2 Thors shouldn't be enough. Not yet. Not for the first push. As Ling's at the left-hand side, breaking down that depot wall, forcing a reaction, forcing a response. Yeah, this is mainly a tank-based army. Mainly units that don't shoot up. It's tank, Banshee, Hellion, only a handful of Cyclones and a handful of Thors. So this Broodlord transition is working well. As I say that though, 3 more Thors on the way. That window is closing. Like, we gotta go here and now. The longer Trifax waits, the more anti-air Angry is gonna have. So Thors are on the way. Broodlords have arrived. Trading relatively well so far, getting 2 tanks. Rest of the army coming into support. Thors are pushing forward. Nice transfuse so far, keeping the Broodlords alive, but oh, 1 Broodlord goes down. And we get 1 Broodlord catching another tank. And here comes the ground army. Here comes the army to support. Hellbats will fall, and we're committing to the fight. Bailings don't quite get into the mineral line. They don't get in, but every single tank goes down. The Thors are holding their own, but they're on their own. No support. The Thors, they can be targeted. And we're down to 2 Thors left. The Banshees are doing well for themselves. But the Thors are falling one after the other, and it looks like this Broodlord switch is snowballing out of control. Looks like Trifax has broken through the tanks, the Thors, the third base, and behind this remaxing on Lings and Corruptors. Lings and Corruptors are coming in. Again, I was a little bit concerned that Trifax would wait a little bit too long for the Thor count to mass up, but as we saw, there were only 3 Thors, and they were barely in the fight. They were stuck a little bit further behind. And even if we get into more Thor production, the damage has been done, and Trifax can just switch into Ling Roach Ravager again. Can switch out of Broodlords. And so now back up to 4 Thors. See the Thor army fighting back. Lings coming in, collapsing on the Thors. Corruptors as well. And these are just trays that Angry cannot afford. Every Banshee finally goes down to the Corruptor. The Broodlords were targeted, so not the best trade here for Trifax. He has to back off, but again, he's remaxed on Roach. Like at this point, now that the Thor count is a little bit more significant, now it's not about the Broodlords, it's about the Ling Roach Ravager again. So we just switch back out. Switch back in. Just tech switching as often as possible. Oh my god, as there's too many Corruptors, we can't repair! It's not enough! The planetary goes down. GG, 1G, Fabius. Trifax does take the game and does start off with a win. GG. Trifax does take the first game here. Very nicely done. Haven't seen Trifax in yonks. Oh my. Yeah, Trifax used to stream more. He used to stream a little bit more, but has been a little bit less active on his Twitch channel. But thankfully is still competing here. Do love to see it. And yeah, again, I was a little bit concerned that Trifax would wait a little bit too long with his Broodlords, but he hit at the perfect moment. Again, there were only 3 Thors, and even then, I think only 1 Thor was in the fight. The other 2 were still waddling in, so was able to break through the initial tank line just in time before the Terran player had recognized what was happening, before the Terran player could respond with a more anti-air army. With that, GG, well played. And we're getting into game number 2. Gonna be loading into Ghost River. Let's go. Let us go. I'm ready to smudge as well. Like, I know it's gonna be a long cast today, so I'm ready to smudge if I need to. If things get a little bit too cold. I'm ready. For now. Jumping in. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Ghost River, we have the Polish Terran player, the Red Terran. Down in the series, we're going to bounce back here and now to force the ace match. It is Angry. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the Blue Zerg player. Ooh, from the land of Poland. It is a Trifax. Here we go. I would say Trifax is maybe the strongest Zerg player in the tournament. Let me just double check here. It's hard to distinguish between Trifax and Aristory. I do think they're both comparable players in skill. Unfortunately, they're both in the same group, so hopefully they don't knock each other out. But in the absence of a laser, that's where Trifax and Aristory rise to the challenge, you know, to represent Zerg in the playoff bracket and look to go even further than that. So best of luck to Trifax and Aristory. They've got a race to carry. Let's go. We'll see if they can. Now Overlord's being sent out. And we do have Angry opening up double gas. Okay. Okay, so as a reminder, last game Trifax went for a really odd build. Went for a Rax Expand into 2-port Mass Banshee. It was a wild build, but Trifax scattered everything. He saw everything he needed to in the main base, was able to respond, was able to, yeah, shut down Angry But we'll see what build we have this time. As with a double gas opener, it's going to be racks into factory. This could just be a one base all-in. On Ghost River, this would make sense. Oh boy. So potential one base all-in from Angry, going for a much faster factory. Big delay on the CC, and the Overlord Scout is denied. The Marine has arrived. We skip the Reaper. So there is no Reaper. Sorry, there is no Scout of the Overlord. Likewise, no Reaper Scout either. And Angry is in the... Sorry, Trifax is in the dark. And is the Overlord going to go down? The Overlord! Up! It's close! 11 HP! Oh my god! Barely does escape with 11 HP. Does survive. Trifax avoids the supply block. But the problem is, it is a one base all-in. Double gas opener into a 1-1-1. Interesting. I'm curious. Is this going to be maybe a Hellion drop? We have the reactor on the way for an add-on swap, or it could be a Hellbat all-in. We could throw it in an armory, go for the add-on swap, Hellions, medevac with an armory with Hellbats. Curious how this all comes together. We have the initial add-on swap, which makes sense for mass Hellion. Safety spine crawler on the way. Trifax sees where something is wrong. He rescouts. He doesn't see the main, but he sees the lack of expansion. The lack of CC is a big tell. So Trifax, he knows something is wrong. Well, one spine crawler to react so far. No Roach Warren yet. There's the armory. Hellbat all in. Okay, it is going to be a Hellbat all in. And Trifax is still trying to piece it all together. Does spot the Hellion. That is a tell. Now Trifax knows it's not like a 2-on-1 variation. It's not Mass Marine. And I would love to see a Roach Warren. For now, one spine crawler. Continued Queen production. That's an okay response so far. So far, so good. Ooh, okay, not going for roaches. Baneling Nest. Is going to be a Baneling Nest response instead. Is going to finish up in time because here comes the army. Here comes the all-in. Hellions were spotted. Marines here as well. The Queens are on the front lines. The one spine crawler. Just 3 Queens for the time being, and the Hellbats are revealed. But that spine is a massive... I mean, it's a massive tool here to be used, and the Hellbats cannot push forward. They're going to try to, though. They collapse on the Queens. First Queen is going to be targeted. Ooh, no transfuse. Not enough energy. No energy to work with, but the Hellbats are taking a lot of damage from that spine crawler. Mortlings are amassing. Nice kiting here with the Queens. Do we have a transfuse? Do we have one? Up, barely not. The spine crawler goes down, but it bought so much time. Only one Hellbat left. 2 more Hellions coming in. Another Queen goes down. There's a clutch transfuse, but no Banelings in time. Yeah, it looks like Angry has broken through, getting into the mineral line, chasing down the last Queen. Trifax barely. I mean, can we still hold? Does save the workers. The workers are saved. Banelings are on the way. 2 Banelings rolling in. Up. Decent connections. They take down the SCVs. And Lings are flooding forward, and Trifax, despite initially being broken, he's holding. No, too soon. Oh my god. Calm down, Trifax. Calm down. The boys are being pulled back in. The medevac barely does survive, but it's only 1 Hellbat and 2 Marines. Trifax, he is doing it. Banshee comes in to support. Oh my god, but no cloak. Yeah, no cloak for the Banshees. The Queens, they still hold their ground. And Trifax has held. It was close though, very close. I love how Trifax was able to save his workers for so long. GG gets called and Trifax takes the 2-0. Oh my god. GG. GG, well played. A very clutch defense there from Trifax. Initially, he was broken. That spine crawler put in a lot of work. It put in a lot of work, was able to buy so much time, did so much DPS as well, was able to focus on, I want to say, 3 Hellbats. That spine crawler putting in a lot of work. Alas, the spine crawler was broken. The Queens were going down one after the other, but Trifax kept his cool. Trifax, he kept his cool. He was able to maintain himself, was able to recover. And in the end, even though he was forced to pull the boys away, even though the army was in the mineral line of the natural, didn't matter. Did not matter in the end. Was able to save those drones, able to pull them away to the 3rd base, and was able to survive. GG. GG, well played. A very intense game number 2, but Trifax comes out with the 2-0. Does advance on to the winners match. Oh my god. Very intense game. We can actually have a look at